G'day, my name is Rue. I'm a guitar player here in Nashville, Tennessee. I like to make videos, I like to play the guitar. I do it in all capacities that I can. I build them, I play on Broadway, I play on the road, and I do some studio sessions. As a matter of fact, my first single for an artist came out today on a label, and that was for Brian Martin. I'm lucky enough to have played with some unreal musicians on there, not least of which is Rob McNally, one of my favorite guitarists ever. A couple things. I'm playing a different guitar. I don't know if I've shown it in a video before. It's the Frank Brothers. These guys have been a huge supporter of me since I first left college and moved to town. And, this guitar is simply one of the best things I've ever talked about. And I'll have to do a video just on this because I'm always so amazed. I'm playing through an original Zen Drive. And I'm plugged into a 1964 Fender Deluxe Reverb with a Naylor Special Design 50 speaker. I was going to do a kind of Zen Drive shootout. I have the original, I have the vertical by Apollo approved, and then I have the Fuchs Valve Job 2. But I actually wanted to talk about something that I think is probably a little more pressing and of concern to some people who are interested in moving to Nashville. I wanted to talk about networking, how to get ahead, or what's the secret, or how do I do it, what do I do? And I want to tell you, I don't know. I really don't. I don't think there is. I think I touched on this a bit in the kind of harsh truths about Nashville, and really they're not harsh truths. Some people commented, get a real job, whatever, but I don't know. Jealousy is a fickle thing, my friends. I'm very stoked to be stubborn enough to be doing what I'm doing, and have continued on from being one of the, being consistently told, music ain't for you to make a living doing it. And I moved overseas to do it, so hell yeah. I'm very fortunate and grateful for all opportunities I've had. And I'm very fortunate and grateful for being who I am and being in the position I am. It's not always where I want to be or what I want, but it is something that I'm very, proud to say that has come through a lot of grit and self-determination. So I'll tell you a story. This is a shirt I got from my good friend Jay over at Matt's Music Center in Boston. Now, Jay reached out kind of early on into me doing this thing, and we've just sparked up a great friendship since then. And he was like, hey man, let me send you like a little surprise package. And he sent me something which I'm gonna show in another video, which is very kind of him, and I'm very excited to use. But really, he reached out, and he just was like, man, I like your playing, I like what you do, and I like what you have to say, so let's be friends and do some stuff. And whenever anyone asks me for the secret to networking, like, how do you do it? How do you know so many people? Oh, you seem to know everyone on Broadway and all these session guys and all these touring guys. There is no secret other than I just reach out and say hi to a lot of people. I've had two guys come to one of my gigs and sit in, Richie and Brock, and they both did so by just commenting on my YouTube, or even just messaging me on Instagram and being like, hey man, I like your channel, can we hang out? And they came and hung out at the gigs, and I was like, hey, it's not busy, like, here you go, sit in, sing a song, play a song, get your first taste for it. And that's all it is. There is no, in my head, well, if I meet this guy, that'll get me this, and this guy will get me this. Anyone in this town can name drop. Well, I know this guy. Okay, great, cool. So do I. Oh, I met this guy. Great, yeah, lovely guy. It's not Connect 4 and it's not 3D chess. People like spending time with and hiring their friends. And I'm in the business of making friends, not making social connections to get ahead. Even if it's with a company, man, I'm very fortunate that I work with some companies, and some companies have reached out and I get to do things with them. But I'm not really interested in business transactions in that way. They might, one guy makes pedals, sending me a demo pedal I'm going to be posting about soon, and he was like, yeah man, like, I messaged him years ago on Instagram, I'm a big fan of this pedal and blah blah blah, and then he kind of was like, oh man, I saw your YouTube, can I send you something to demo and just have some fun? And cool, but we actually call and talk on the phone, and we talk about life and everything else. and this is an important thing. When I'm talking to my friends, especially like guitar player friends, whatever, like we kind of get the gear talk out of the way. Did you buy anything new recently? No. Oh, what are you working on? Oh man, you should check out this album. But we tend to talk more about life, like fishing, or I got to talk to two of my good friends today, Austin Crum and Aaron Curry, and yeah, I was seeking some advice about like, hey, like this is where I'm at in my career and stuff. But they'll, Austin especially was so kind, like, oh man, I love your YouTube and stuff. And honestly, I'll say this, I'll get this out. I've said this before, but Austin is one of the scariest guitar players I've ever heard in my life. I was telling someone the other day, I was walking past Old Red and heard the best steel player I've ever heard in my life. And I was off a triple and I was tired and upset and just like ready to go to sleep. And I walked back to the window and looked in because I was like, oh my God, this is like, I'm getting hairs on end talking about it. And it was Austin playing his B and A bender, which is so genius, by the way, because if you were playing certain chords, you could have things kind of, you could start making really interesting voices by doing your B and A up, or you could even play something. Like there's your C minor. If you were to bend up your A and then your G, there's your G minor 7, right? Little things like that, and I thought that was such a genius move. But it's funny, we just often talk about life and what's going on, and people are looking to connect on a human level. So many famous guitarists talk about it, but they're like, dude, like, it's cool, but like, you can look up my rig rundown online. I don't want to talk about that. There's a deeper strata of truth to be discussed. And whether I'm the best player or not, or someone is or isn't, or has the best tone or whatever, like, it's fine. We're all figuring it out. But there's more to this and life than just gear and playing guitar. Now, for some people, that's what they do, and I'm not judging them. But I thrive on conversation. I love meeting people. I love making friends. I love teaching. Again, I'm teaching. If you're interested in lessons, reach out. You can talk about whatever you want. Today I was thinking a lot about Robin Ford. I'll play, the Zen Drive thing, I guess. I'll play you a Robin Ford line I really, really dig in a few. Maybe to cap off the lesson, we can talk about one of my favorite Robin Ford lines. And I should probably dissect my favorite Robin Ford solo live at Montreux, Monmouth College fight song. Now, I just want to say, if you're looking to move to Nashville, I don't know about the artist side of things, and even the networking thing would probably work better in my favor. I'm not necessarily the best at discovering who does what and where, but when I moved to town, I looked up who everyone was, from Broadway players to session players to road guys. And I made a point of, well, I've got 20 extra bucks this week. Okay, 10 bucks will get me half a tank of gas and $5 per coffee. Okay, what if I reach out to this guy? And just making friends with them, because, you're not going to get on with everyone, but people will have your corner if you're a good dude and you just hang out and be good, just be cool. There's some players who are they're not the best, but they're the nicest dudes. You just want to hang out with them. And then, there's some mind-blowing players who are very difficult to hang out with, and they wonder why maybe they don't get gigs or something. But that's to say, there is no secret to networking and the hang. It's something that is individual for you. There is no steadfast preset model that you can turn on, but I can give you some rapid fire advice. Always be editing, and that recognize the context you're in. Perhaps you might like a certain style of humor, but judge the situation you're in and who you're with, and then go off that. Perhaps you really like, if you're on the road, you really like a Morbid Angel, death metal band or something. But you're in a band full of like John Mayheads. Maybe don't play the Morbid Angel record, or, just editing, being socially aware of the context you're in is really important, I think. you know, you've got to be a bit brave when it comes to meeting people. You've got to recognize that as many people as you meet that like you and you like them, there's going to be cases where you like them and they don't like you, or they like you, you don't like them, or you know what, you both don't like each other. And that's fine. At the end of the day, you should still be able to shake everyone's hand and walk away from it and go, you know what, I recognize that maybe we're not best friends, but we can respect each other and be polite. Because, you know, people just want to feel validated and seen. Be a good listener. Be a really good listener. You know, it's important when someone says to you, you know, man, next week I have my first session for RCA. And you go, dude, that's so sick. I'm so proud of you. When you see them in 2 weeks, you don't go on about something, you know, you make sure you say to them, dude, how was that? And give them their moment of pride and glory, because they deserve that. And if you've had a similar, you know, upwind moment, you know, you can tell them and talk about that, and it should be celebrated. I think positivity goes a long way. Fake it till you make it if you have to, if you're not a positive person. Sucks, but people like that, you know. Another thing is just being aware of your strengths and weaknesses. I know mine, and they're hard to work on, but I'm trying, and I'm working hard. And again, I've said I was the worst player when I got here, and I don't care if people say I still am. I love playing the guitar, and I'm working really hard to try and become a better player all the time. You know, the playing up top might not be the best, but it's an honest, just off-the-cuff thing, and I'd rather do that than present something I'm not, which is maybe me sitting down playing a For the Love of God Steve Vai solo cover. So look, a rant in D minor. I don't know if it's a rant. This is just genuinely me trying to provide something that people have asked for, but I'm not sure if there's really a correct answer. You know, something I've noticed is that the guys who are always at the top don't usually tend to speak down on other people because they don't care, because they're fine and they don't need to be self-conscious about their playing or competitive for gigs. Perhaps at one point, but I guess that's a part of growth, you know? A part of being mature is recognizing that, like, say you love Reggie Young and someone else loves, you know, Don Rich. You don't have to disagree about who's the best telly player. Or someone else likes Danny Gatton. And Nate, my friend, sent me a video, an old video of Danny playing at the Cellar Door, I think it is, in Washington. Playing, I think it's Who Do You Think You Are? This old, I think it's a Ray Charles tune. And it's like this 6-minute solo. And I'll link it. Maybe it's 10 minutes. It's stupid though. It's like every verse is better and better and better. And you just go, okay, Danny knew what he was doing. It really inspired me to, like, I should probably get some kind of AVRI or Blackguard telly in my life, because I don't have anything like that. I have this cool pink double bound Dano though. That's pretty sick. Danacaster. Actually, here's a great story. Danacaster is one of my closest friends. Dan String. When I moved to town, I was going to buy a Danacaster neck off Facebook, and it had a crack in the back. So I reached out on Instagram. I was just like, "Hey man, I'm gonna buy this," and he was like, "Oh no, don't do that. You know, I'll actually take a custom order right now. What do you want?" I was like, "I want let's plug it in, a pink double bound telly, because I just think that's cool." And he was like, "All right, great." And we met and we talked and we just kept meeting and talking. And then I found out, you know, oh, you're into the same music. Oh, you like the same players. Oh, you're a Landau guy. Oh, you like this and this and this. And we just kept going back and forth. And so out of tune. Sorry, Dan. And then I'd see him post about fishing, and I was like, man, I miss fishing. I'd really love to get back into it. He's like, come over, and we went fishing. I had no gear, and he gave me a bunch of gear, but we formed a friendship out of a simple message, and found out we had a lot of mutual likes and interests, and I don't see him all the time, but we talk often enough, and I'm so thankful to have him in my life. You know, when my parents visited from Australia, I brought them over. We went to his house. You know, him and I share a birthday, and you know, it was just like a simple message that's turned into like a lifelong friendship that I'm really, really stoked about and really proud of. And I've leaned on him for advice, and he's been really good to me. And there's just some things happen like that, you know. Mike Bork, who I mention all the time, we started with me walking in AJ's and going, dude, you are Mike Bork. And he's like, yep. And I was like, you are one of my favorite players. You're amazing. And he goes, well, come to my gig tomorrow morning. Welcome to town. We'll see what you're made of. And now he's one of my closest friends. The joke in town is that he's my dad, you know. People go, oh, Mike Bork. I go, oh, good old dad. There was one fiddle player who actually believed it, which is pretty good. And yeah, this is just, you know, I don't expect anything from these people, but they've helped me in ways that I can't even begin to describe, you know. And I had a chat with someone the other day, this guy who I gig with, and he was like, you've been such a good mentor to me, and I'm so thankful. And I was like, dude, we just go and get lunch and hang out. Like, I can't consider myself that. And he's like, well, I do, and I thank you. And it made me realize, you know, I saw a video of Tom Bukovac saying, find a mentor. And I think that's really important, but I think it's not just one person. I think it's multiple people. And more often than not, the best mentor you can have is a friend. So yeah. But anyway, pretty cool telly. The Danny Gatton thing, I got... The strings are so dead. I gotta set this thing up. I might play this tonight. Oh my god, I can't play telly stuff worth a damn. But I'll show you that Robin Ford lick, and I'll show you my favorite telly lick. It's a Brent Mason lick. It's not my favorite telly lick, but I think it's a really just useful concept. It's from Chattahoochee. It's the second lick. All it pointed out to me is that Brent's often thinking about the flat 7 as a kind of way to naturally color a chord. And I thought that was interesting. It's not much of anything that anyone would take, but yeah, another one is like he's playing on Mercury Blues, and there's the 6. The natural 7. Sorry. It's a good solo to learn, Mercury Blues. But I'm going to break down this Robin Ford. Okay. Out of C. C7, but treating it like it's the 6 of E flat, a major. I always go on about this lick, but it's in the middle of the Monmouth College fight song solo, and it's... You're just like jumping up and down. 4, 6, 5, 1. It's just a pattern, right? 1, 4, flat 3, 5, 1, flat 7, 5, flat 3, 1. Anyway, this is a ridiculously good guitar. I'm very thankful to Dan. I've done probably 1,000 gigs on this, man. It was clean when I got it. And admittedly, Dan is the... Look how dirty this thing is. Well, it's got to get my face out of it. But... Dan is my biggest inspiration when it comes to building guitars, and I'm very thankful to Dan. This is such a phenomenal instrument. And it's my telly, so very thankful. But look, that's some thoughts on what it means to network or make friends or whatever. I don't know, I'm, you know, a character, I guess. If you're a musician in any regards, you're 100% on the spectrum. So take that as with a grain of salt. But I guess it's a thing. You know, navigating communication with other musicians can be difficult because it's not a cut and dry, like, let's have a business meeting and do this. It's just, it is what it is. At some point, I'll do a video on the comparison here. I'll probably have to mic this up. I have my Sam Hill 210 underneath, and it's very interesting to hear the difference of the 112 versus the 210. And I also plan to do a video on some of my favorite telepickers in town who you might not have heard of. And I think that's going to be a real good one. But I have a gig tonight. I have 2 tomorrow. I'm teaching on Sunday, and then I have a gig. And, you know, hopefully I can get some kind of video in Saturday, Sunday. I'll try my best. But for now, I think this should be good. And again, thank you everyone who comments, likes, subscribes, all that, who's reached out. It means so much. If you're interested in lessons, reach out. If you're interested in presets, all my stuff, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or even just to chat, hit me up. We'll talk. Instagrams are Real Rucaster and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Yeah, it's always interesting playing a telly because I always find them so weak. But I'm not a good telly player. I gotta get my chops back. I gotta put new strings on this thing. They're like 3 years old. It's just, I don't know why. Yeah, that's it. That's the Roo for today, Friday. So I appreciate everyone. I'm thankful for everyone. And it's kind of crazy watching this journey unfold, and I'm thankful for every wild second of it. So here's to the next adventure and the next video. Thanks, everyone. Oh, also, I have some cool, big news coming up. I can't talk about it yet. I know everyone says that kind of stuff, but whatever. But, like, I do, and I'm really thankful and excited for the people who have afforded me some of the opportunities I have. So, yeah. Oh, and I have a road gig coming up in a couple weeks, so I'll do a vlog about what it's like to do that. And maybe I'll do a practice vlog where I learn the songs and stuff. But if you'd like to see any particular topics on a video, please don't be afraid to comment that. I get great interaction and comments from people, but perhaps it would be cool to see some of your ideas. You know, gear stuff or whatever's fine. That's a dime a dozen. It'll happen. But like maybe on some more kind of real things like gigs or whatever. You know, who knows? Anyway, there's some thoughts. I'm gonna go get ready and do a gig, and I'm gonna wear my new favorite shirt. So cheers, shout out Jay, Matt's Music Center. Shout out everyone who's reached out, commented, blah, blah, blah. All that. I appreciate you all. I'm very thankful. Have a good weekend.